Yo, time to wake 'em up!
Bonjour et bienvenue sur Discover 360. J'espère que cette chaîne vous plaira. Elle est consacrée à l'intelligence artificielle, au voyage et à la tech.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2.
N'oubliez pas de souscrire. Bonne écoute.
Next cipher begin!
In the last few months, you've probably seen Claude popping up absolutely everywhere. It's had this incredible meteoric rise, with millions of people switching over from other AI tools. But here's the thing, just using it is one thing. Mastering it is something else entirely. So let's dive right into the techniques that are going to unlock Claude's true potential.
This right here, this is the core idea from its creators at Anthropic. You have to get this. Claude is not just some question and answer machine. No, it's built to be a collaborator, someone you can brainstorm with, hash out ideas with, and use to solve really complex problems. So you gotta forget the simple chatbot model and start thinking of it as a powerful extension of your own mind. So here's our roadmap. We're gonna build out your complete prompt engineering toolkit. We'll start with the why behind Claude, then get into the blueprints for a great prompt. After that, we'll fire up its reasoning engine, connect it to some advanced tools, and finally, we'll set up some guardrails to help you sidestep those common mistakes.
To really get the most out of any tool, you first have to understand how it was designed to be used, right? So, what actually makes Claude different? Well, it really all boils down to two key ideas.
First off, just look at its explosive growth. I mean, for a while there, Claude was the #1 most downloaded app in the US App Store. Now, that's not just hype. It's a huge signal that its unique way of collaborating and its powerful features are really clicking with people who are looking for something more than just a basic text generator.
Second, and this is so important, is its foundation. Claude is built on something called constitutional AI. So instead of only being trained by humans, it's actually guided by a set of core principles. Be helpful, be harmless, and be honest. And what that means for you is that it's specifically designed to avoid toxic junk, to refuse harmful requests, and to be upfront about what it doesn't know.
All right, let's get into the practical stuff. The difference between a pretty mediocre response and an amazing one almost always comes down to structure. These next two techniques are the absolute bedrock of effective prompt engineering. You gotta know these.
Okay, so this might look a little technical, but trust me, it's incredibly simple and it is a total game changer. See, when you have a complex request where you're mixing instructions and data and examples, it's easy to confuse the model. Using simple tags, like the document and document tags you see here, creates these really clear boundaries. It's like you're telling Claude, hey, listen up. This part is the instruction, and this other part is the stuff I want you to work on.
And here you can see it in action. Just look at the difference. On the left, you've got this messy, all-in-one paragraph. Sure, it might work, but your results are going to be unpredictable. Now, on the right, you have a clean, structured prompt. The command is separate, the text is neatly wrapped in tags. This one simple change gives you so much more control and way more consistent results.
Let's get to our second blueprint technique, few-shot prompting. The idea here is really simple. Show, don't just tell. Instead of writing a super long, complicated paragraph trying to describe the exact tone or format you want, you just give Claude a couple of examples of what you're looking for. It's a really simple process. Just state your goal and then provide one or two perfect examples of the kind of output you want back.
Look at this. On the left, you're trying to describe a specific tone with this tangled mess of words. What a headache, right? But on the right, you're just showing it with clear examples. Claude learns the pattern directly from what you show it, which is way more effective. And honestly, it saves you the massive pain of trying to put a specific style into words.
Okay, so we've got the blueprint down. Now it's time to fire up the engine. This is for when you're tackling problems that aren't just about style or format, but problems that need real logic and analysis. This might be one of the most important techniques for complex tasks. Just by adding the simple phrase, think step by step, or by laying out the steps yourself, you're forcing Claude to show its work. It has to lay out its reasoning process, which dramatically cuts down on errors in logic and math, really any kind of multi-step problem. It's the difference between getting a mysterious black box answer and a transparent, well-reasoned conclusion.
And here's the crucial part. You get to guide this whole process. You don't just have to cross your fingers and hope it reasons correctly. You can actually define the chain of thought you want it to follow. Say you're doing a market analysis report. You can tell it to first research, then analyze, then compare, then identify the trends. You're basically handing it a project plan to execute.
So now we're going to move from just prompting Claude to actually giving it hands and eyes to interact with the world. This is where Claude really evolves from an assistant into an autonomous agent that can actually perform tasks for you.
So how does that even work? Well, the key technology behind this is the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The best way to think about MCP is like a universal adapter. It's a standard that lets developers securely hook Claude up to pretty much any external tool, from a simple calculator to really complex company software. This is literally how you give Claude new skills on demand.
And this is where things get incredibly powerful. With MCP and tool use, you can build workflows that honestly felt like science fiction just a couple of years ago. You could have Claude connect to your GitHub repository to automatically review code and even fix bugs. You could point it at a Jupyter notebook and have it spin up a live data dashboard. Or, get this, you could show it a Figma design and have it build the front-end code for a web app. The possibilities are just staggering.
Okay, we've seen the power, but to use it intelligently, we have to understand the limitations too. Knowing the common pitfalls, the errors to avoid, is just as important as knowing all the advanced techniques.
So how do we build those guardrails to keep our results accurate and reliable? Let's break down the 3 most common ways these things can fail and what to do about them.
The first and most famous pitfall is the hallucination. That's when the AI states something as fact with total confidence, but it's completely made up. The solution is to force it to show its evidence. Before you ask for a conclusion, tell it to first pull out the relevant quotes or data points from a source you give it. This one simple step anchors its answer in reality.
Second, you have to remember that Claude's internal knowledge isn't live. It was trained on data up to a specific point in time, and that's it. So for any task that needs current information, you must provide that info yourself. You can either paste it into the prompt, or even better, give it a tool that can access the live web.
And finally, vague prompts get vague results. It's that simple. Saying act like an expert is weak, but saying act like a senior financial analyst with 10 years of experience writing reports for investors, now that's strong. You should always assign a specific role, define the exact format you want, like a table or bullet points, and set clear constraints, maybe like a word count.
So, there you have it, your foundational toolkit for mastering Claude. Always structure your prompts with XML tags. Show, don't tell with few shot examples. Force it to think logically with chain of thought. Extend its skills with tools, and always demand evidence to keep the output grounded in reality.
You know, these techniques transform Claude from just a simple tool into a true creative and analytical partner. So the real question is no longer about what the AI can do, but with these keys in your hand, what will you choose to build with it?